Flowers for the Living by Alan Arena. About 2 weeks into second grade, a new class was formed to relieve overcrowding. In a time-honored process that happens to this day, a dump class was formed. Students were skimmed from other second grade classes. The teachers did not send their brightest or best behaved. While I was a well-behaved child, I had committed the unpardonable sin of making it to second grade without being able to read. I was a roly-poly daydreamer with a hearing loss. To make matters worse, my father was a Ph.D. in education at the local college. I doubt any teacher really wanted to explain to him why his son couldn't read. The new teacher lasted 3 weeks. We proceeded to chew through a series of substitute teachers like a rabid weasel through fingers. It was now Christmas. We had no teacher, and we had learned nothing except how to make subs take up drinking. Miss Adams was black. She graduated in December, and they threw her to the lions in January. Nothing they teach you in school prepares you for teaching, much less a class like we were. With love, patience, kindness, perseverance, and aspirin, she turned our class of miscreants around. We all passed second grade. I learned to read. None of us turned out to be serial killers. The 71-72 school year was not a good one for race relations in our city. Our large school system was in the second year of court-ordered busing that would not be given up as a failed experiment until almost 20 years later. In our middle-class, white-bread school, many of us were living and learning with coloreds for the first time. Miss Adams was black, and we adored her. I consider myself a living trophy to her love, perseverance, and grace. But now I wonder, how was she treated outside of her classroom? Was she looked down on as a quota teacher? Was she considered an equal by her peers? What did our parents think of her? I now know that she not only took on the forgotten class from hell, but dealt with racial prejudice in many forms. Dozens of times over the years I toyed with the idea of trying to find her. Almost 35 years later I wrote a long overdue, wholly inadequate letter of thanks. I had no idea where she was, how she was, or if she was. No doubt her name had changed. I hoped her career never had. I tossed my letter into the internet via email like a message in a bottle in hopes that somehow it would find her. Email is remarkably viral. My letter reached a teacher friend in my hometown. She had taught at my old elementary school a few years before. There was a Mrs. Adams teaching there. She would investigate. After all these years, could she be right where I left her? My friend took the letter over. Yes, it was her, and she remembered me, and my class, and all the babies she had ever taught. It was the last few weeks of her final year of teaching. Mrs. Arlinda Adams died of cancer a few months after retiring that year. I never spoke to her, but I told her. Her family told me how she treasured the letter and kept it in a special place. It was read at her funeral. My dad once said, "Send your flowers to the living. The dead can't smell them." I did, and I'm glad.